Eek. Did you just undress me and touch my chest? Yes. Stumbling upon a woman who had lost consciousness, I desperately tried CPR. Thankfully, we managed to avoid the worst-case scenario, but only momentarily. I have never imagined that saving someone's life, I would be blamed for such a thing. I sighed too. You jerk. What? A man nearby, who was with a woman, also sided with her. Together, they started hurling abuse at me. At that time, I was on my way to a job where I absolutely couldn't afford to be late. Saving a life, I ended up losing everything. Little did I know, an unexpected fate was about to come my way. My name is Nicholas. I'm 28 years old. I work in sales at a beverage company. Williams Corporation is renowned for its reasonably priced yet delicious canned beers and cocktails. Riding the wave of the zero-calorie trend and the Instagrammable boom, the company has been steadily increasing its performance. Working for such a company, there's a question I often get asked by people I meet for the first time, whether I chose this job because I love alcohol. But for me, it's different. Nicholas, you're not tied up with urgent tasks right now, are you? Let's go out for drinks today. As I was getting ready to leave at the end of the workday, a senior colleague came running over and put his arm around my shoulder. However, I made an apologetic face and waved goodbye with my hand in front of me. Sorry, I've been feeling a bit under the weather since this morning, so I thought I'd better head back early, just to be safe. Again, you're really susceptible to illness, aren't you? Make sure you go to the doctor, okay? Really, I'm sorry. Let's do it another time, please. It's a promise. There are a lot of people who want to talk to you, you know. Yes, have a good evening. I watched the reluctantly departing senior colleague and secretly wiped the cold sweat from my forehead. I have a secret that I've been keeping from my co-workers at the company. Actually, I'm a teetotaler. Ever since I was young, I never had any particular skills or distinguishing features. Consequently, job hunting was incredibly tough, and I lost count of how many job rejection emails I received. Anyway, I needed to secure at least one job offer as soon as possible. Driven by desperation, I applied for job interviews indiscriminately, regardless of the industry. Somehow, of all places, I ended up with a job offer from a company where alcohol was the main product. It's not like I was trying to hide it or anything. Since alcohol was the main product, the company was full of people who loved to drink or were good at handling their liquor. In such an environment, it was hard to admit that I'm a teetotaler. Before I knew it, 6 years had passed without finding the right moment to say it. It's about time feeling sick and being too busy with work are no longer viable excuses. Maybe it's time to think of something else. However, even for someone like me, it's clear that our products are delicious. And recently, non-alcoholic beverages have become a huge trend socially. When our company decided to handle non-alcoholic beer, I thought, this is it. It seemed perfect for someone like me, who likes alcohol but can't drink it. Aunt Nicholas, you are still here, good. After declining the invitation to drink, I decided to go home after my seniors left the office and started working on some unfinished documents. A portly middle-aged man with salt and pepper hair and a beard came into the office, smiling. President Williams. Good evening. He is the top executive of this company, President Williams. He took over the company when it was still obscure in his 20s and turned it into a well-known enterprise. While being very strict about work, he is also approachable and friendly to ordinary employees like me. He's approachable and gentle, a person who commands respect throughout the company. I heard you've been working really diligently. I just had to see you in person to express my gratitude. Oh, you didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. This is why he's so admired by the employees. Like them, I too aspire to be a businessman like President Williams, dedicating myself to my work every day. Especially lately, I've been actively volunteering and running around for the non-alcoholic series sales. Because I'm a non-drinker, our non-alcoholic products made me incredibly happy to feel as though I was drinking alcohol. I convey that excitement as it is to my business partners. As a result, I've found my unique weapon. Currently, I'm in the midst of drastically improving my performance, a stark contrast to my previous struggles. Originally, our family ran a distillery for generations. Selling non-alcoholic fake alcohol was, frankly, A bit hard to swallow at first, but seeing how hard you've been working, Nicholas, made me reconsider. The excellence of the product itself is what makes this passable. I'll keep pushing so that even more people will pick it up. I have high hopes for you, Nicholas. President Williams placed his hand on my shoulder, nodding with a beaming smile. For this man, I felt like I could grind myself to dust without regret. That's what's been motivating me. And then, Mariah, I wish you'd show a bit more initiatives like him. Turning to look behind him, President Williams's face took on a slightly stern expression. The woman called Mariah made a barely audible reply from behind the president, saying, "Yes, there are unavoidable aspects due to the nature of the job, but in the future, you might be the one making all the decisions for the company. Start learning from him now, okay?" "Yes, I understand, President," she replied in an even softer voice to the president, her face downturned. She is Mariah, serving as the president's secretary, and she is his daughter, and I, secretly, have always admired her. I always hear great things about your achievements. Nicholas, you are very talented. Thank you. Even though I knew it was just polite conversation, I couldn't help but feel a swell of happiness. It was last year, right after she graduated from a prestigious women's college and started working at this company. The moment I saw her, I was completely captivated. Her bangs were trimmed neatly, and for a young woman, her skirt was longer than usual, giving her a serious and pure aura. Her slightly downcast eyes, perhaps due to nervousness, were striking with their long lashes. Her petite stature next to the president, her porcelain-like skin, she was the epitome of delicate. One could even say she had no presence at all, always quietly standing behind the president, which might seem a bit unreliable for a successor to the company. But that modesty, in turn, made her all the more charming. Every time I saw her around the office, my heart was drawn to her more and more. Sorry for interrupting your work, Nicholas. I'll be going now. Oh, no. I snapped back to reality at the president's words. Even in front of the president, I had been completely mesmerized by Mariah. We're going back to my office, Mariah. Yes, President. Goodbye then. She glanced at me and followed behind the president. I forgot to respond, watching her leave and vowing to myself, I'll work harder. If I produce good results at work, the president himself speaks to me. And beside him, Mariah is always there. Meaning, the harder I work, the more chances I get to see her. All right, let's do this. From that day on, I threw myself into my work with even more enthusiasm. My seniors teased me for being even harder to get along with, but I wanted to see Mariah as often as possible, with that single-minded intention. Then, a few months later, something unexpected happened. My efforts were about to be rewarded in an unexpected way. What? I'm part of that project team. Yes. The president recommended you, saying if it's Nicholas, he can do it. The director, who had called me into a separate room, announced this surprising decision. I had been selected as a member of a major project that the company was planning to undertake. Moreover, it was by the president's own directive. Directors and managers from other departments are also part of the team. From the sales department, it's me, a few veterans, and you. You understand what that means? Yes. It means I'm highly expected to perform well. Exactly. The director nodded gravely, and I swallowed hard. The purpose of this project is to participate in a certain event and promote the company's new products. Given the event's fame, the promotional impact of participating would be tremendous. However, that also means it's highly sought after by competitors, making the competition for slots intense. The crux of the project is to successfully pitch to the organizing company and secure a participation slot. That is the heart of the project. And then, negotiating with the organizing company is our responsibility, right? Yes. It's a huge responsibility. Yes. The director said it casually, but the pressure was anything but light. However, if I shine here, it will surely reach Mariah's ears. Maybe then, she might take more than just a passing interest in her father's subordinate. Leave it to me, director. I'll give it my all. You've got plenty of spirit. I'm looking forward to it, Nicholas. Yes. Eventually, the project officially started. Our sales department team was scheduled to present to the organizing company in a month, and we began our busy days of preparation. And then, The day of the presentation arrived in no time. I was about to witness an unexpectedly surprising side of Mariah. Sorry, I'll be there soon. That day, I was running in a panic while on the phone. We had planned to meet up with the seniors I was presenting with at the nearest station to the company. But on such an important day, my train was delayed due to some issues. I thought I had left home with plenty of time to spare, but I ended up being just in time for our meeting. Was it a mistake to think I'd be faster if I just ran for just 2 stations? This way, I might use up all my energy before the presentation even starts. Regretting not just catching a taxi, I kept moving my legs anyway. Then, another accident struck me. Hey, what's happening? Stay with me. Down the road, a young man was shouting loudly. His hair was a shade of gold close to blonde, and from a distance, you could see his flamboyant patterned shirt and multiple earrings in both ears. I know it's not good to judge people by their appearance, but I gasped inwardly. Lo, he looked like the type who might start trouble out of nowhere. It felt like it might be better to keep my distance. However, I couldn't afford to change my path at this point. I sped up, intending to pass by before he could speak to me. But then, when the man got within about a meter, I stopped dead in my tracks. Because he suddenly crouched down and picked something up from the ground, and in his arms, I could see a woman's head. Hey, stay with me. What happened all of a sudden? Are you okay? The man was shaking the woman, desperately trying to get her to respond. I couldn't just pass by, so I rushed over in a panic. What happened to her? Man, she just passed out. In the man's arms, the woman had a pale face and was limp, unconscious. It was clear at a glance that this was a serious situation, and what shocked me even more was Mariah. The woman lying before me was the one I had feelings for. Mariah. Hey, wake up. Don't shake her too much. I've heard that's not good. While feeling quite shaken inside, I managed to calm the man down first. Then, as we laid Mariah down on the ground, I realized something. It smells. Yes, there was a smell. Not just the man, but especially Mariah. Even without getting too close, a strong smell of alcohol was unmistakable. Did she drink alcohol? Jer, we've been drinking. We were about to head to the next bar. That means acute alcohol intoxication. The strong smell of alcohol was concrete evidence that she was under the influence of alcohol. Did Mariah, who was always so serious and quiet, consume liquor until she passed out? Did she have been out drinking with a man who looked like he partied hard, and her usually fully buttoned-up shirt was now open to just above her chest, and she was wearing a short skirt above her knees? It was all quite shocking, but swallowing all that, I started to move with the thought, I have to help her. Please, call an ambulance. What? Hurry. Oh, okay, got it. While instructing the man, I pried open Mariah's mouth as she lay there. In cases of acute alcohol intoxication, there's a risk of choking on vomit, so checking for that is crucial. I had just learned this at a life-saving course conducted at the company a few days ago. She hasn't vomited, but a chill ran down my spine, and my mind went blank. Mariah wasn't breathing, and I couldn't hear her heart beating either. Mariah, you can't do this. Please wake up. In a state of panic, I somehow managed to recall the content of the course. In such situations, the first step is to start chest compressions. Knowing it was the only thing I could do, I placed my hands one on top of the other in the center of Mariah's chest. I know this is going to hurt, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. While keeping a steady rhythm, I pressed down hard on the sternum. Please God, help Mariah. As I fervently prayed, again and again. Then, oh, thank goodness, her heart began to beat again, weakly but surely. However, her breathing hadn't returned yet. There was only one thing left to do to save her. What? What are you doing at a time like this? Seeing me getting close to Mariah's face, the man hurried back. It's mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. What about the ambulance? The roads are congested. It's going to take time. Darn, then keep quiet. Her life is on the line. As the man recoiled, I too made up my mind. I lifted Mariah's chin, pinched her nose, and covered her mouth with mine. Please, come back. Praying, I blew breath into her, desperate. Again and again, encouraging myself with I will definitely save Mariah. despite being almost overwhelmed by the strong smell of alcohol. And then, how much time had passed? Ick. A small groan, and her eyes slowly opened. Mariah's breathing had returned. And then, eek. Being so close, I was forcefully pushed back. You, from the sails. What are you doing? Mariah. Sitting on the ground, I was pointed at by Mariah, who was shaking her hands and speaking in a tone so different from her usual self. It's hard to believe that his heart and breathing had stopped just moments ago. I feel like I'm being seriously misunderstood. What were you doing to me just now? Huh? My clothes, why? Did you undress me? No, that was already like that. That can't be right. Mariah, her face flushed red and glaring at me, made me hurry to explain that when I found her unconscious, her heart and breathing had stopped. So I put all my knowledge to work, trying to revive her with CPR. But Mariah wouldn't believe me at all, and even went as far as to insult me, stripping me down and touching my chest. You jerk. What? I saw it. He was touching your chest, and even kissed you, saying it was CPR. What? A man who had seen everything even joined in to support Mariah. And then he said the most unforgivable thing. You just wanted to touch Mariah and made a big fuss on purpose, didn't you? At that moment, I was so angry my blood boiled. I clenched my fist so hard it hurt and slammed it into the man's profile. Is there any reason for the exaggeration? Would you have said the same if Mariah hadn't woken up? If I hadn't happened to pass by here? Just thinking about it gives me chills, and my heart feels like it's going to stop. I was so infuriated by the man's lack of understanding of the seriousness of the situation. For the first time in my life, I hit someone. Ouch. What the heck, man? By the time I realized, it was too late. The man grabbed me by the collar, and now it was my turn to be hit back. And then, he hit me again and again. I'm gonna turn you into the cops. Stop, please. Trying to retaliate, I clenched my fist again. That's when it happened. Hayden. Stop it. What are you doing to my boyfriend? What? Mariah's sharp voice rang out, and I let my fist drop limply. Hayden. My boyfriend. Those two facts kept spinning in my head. Was this guy Mariah's boyfriend? Reaching that conclusion, all the strength drained from my body. I gotta go. My phone had been ringing non-stop, and when I checked, I had long missed our meeting time. The shock of encountering a life-threatening situation for the one I cared about. The shock of being scolded by that very person. And the shock that she had a boyfriend. Shaking off the various shocks, I continued to run the remaining distance with a battered face from being hit. Hey, you're late, Nicholas. What have you been up to? What's with that face? Seriously, what were you up to? And you smell like booze. When I arrived at the meeting place at the station, my seniors bombarded me with questions. All I could do was keep apologizing. In the end, I was massively late for our appointment. And with a battered face and reeking of alcohol, there was no way the presentation could go well. The clients had stern expressions throughout, whispering to each other every time they glanced at my face. Does your employee drink and get into fights before presentations? I was sent away in a tense atmosphere with those words. You seem adamant about not discussing what happened. Why is that? The day after the failed presentation, I was called into the president's office and directly questioned by President Williams himself. Yet, even there, I kept my mouth shut. I had high hopes for you. Accordingly, my disappointment this time was profound. If you understand how I feel, could you please tell me the real reason? Can't you even say it now? Were you actually ditching the appointment to drink, and then got into a fight while drunk? What's the deal, Nicholas? Uncharacteristically raising his voice, President Williams slammed his fist on the desk. But I only responded, I'm very sorry. With just those words, I remained silent, until President Williams said, that's enough, with a sigh. So, you don't feel like talking? What if I said you're facing dismissal? Dismissal. Your actions have brought this project to the brink of failure. Someone has to take responsibility if things continue this way. Besides, on a personal note, I don't want to see your face anymore. As if to emphasize his words, President Williams stood up from his chair and turned his back to me. I asked, President Williams, may I ask you one thing? What is it? Is Mariah not at work today? Mariah. She took the day off yesterday and today. She was at my house this morning, but what about it? I see. So, there was nothing wrong with her after that incident. That's good. Just knowing that was enough for me. Afterwards, our company ultimately failed to secure a spot in the event. Thus, the project was cancelled. All the preparations made by various departments were in vain, and I was dismissed due to taking responsibility. I never revealed the truth to anyone until the end. Why didn't you tell the real reason? Being fired unexpectedly, and I don't have much savings. When I was searching for job postings in my apartment, thinking I needed to find a job as soon as possible, she visited me there. Mariah, why are you here? I asked, stunned by the unexpected visitor. She seemed to be coming from work, pressing forward in the entrance way without answering my question. Why didn't you tell my father that it was all because you saved me? In front of me was Mariah, her shirt buttons done up to the neck, just like when she's around President Williams. But her tone was like the other day, and I was confused. I thought it was better that way. Because it seemed like President Williams didn't even know about your incident. I wondered if there was some reason it would be bad if he found out. So, that's why. You. Mariah seemed to want to say something, her mouth opening and closing. After a moment, she suddenly turned on her heel and ran down the apartment hallway, leaving behind a surprising declaration. I'll come back tomorrow. In the next night, true to her word, Mariah visited my place again. I'm really, really sorry. As soon as she entered the room, she started to ask for forgiveness with great intensity. Then, she thrust the paper bag she was holding towards me. This is the least I can do to apologize. Thank you. Confused, I accepted it for the moment. When I took out the contents of the paper bag, it was a bottle of wine that one could tell was expensive at a glance. It's my favorite brand. It's really delicious, so please enjoy it if you like. While I appreciated the gesture, honestly, I felt more overwhelmed than anything. Thanks but sorry. I'm a teetotaler. What? I can't drink alcohol, and when I do, I get sick pretty quickly. No way. Aren't all people who work at alcohol companies supposed to be good at drinking? Her expression was the epitome of shock, as if she had just learned a mind-blowing fact. Mariah stood there, mouth agape, starting to tremble. It was so unexpectedly funny that I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Why are you laughing? Well, because the contrast was just too much with the prim and proper Mariah I knew. After a long time, I laughed so hard my stomach hurt. And for the first time since I was fired, I felt truly refreshed. So, what are you apologizing for? Oh, as if remembering just then, Mariah tightened her face. Then, once again, she deeply apologized to me, saying, I'm really sorry about that time. Finally, she revealed the reason she had come here. According to Mariah, right after I had left, an ambulance arrived. Then, at the hospital, the attending physician severely warned Mariah about her actions. The doctor said, if the CPR hadn't been performed at that time, I would have definitely been gone. Calling someone who saved my life a criminal, what's that about? And also, for drinking to the point of putting myself in great danger. Getting scolded like that was a first for me in my life. So, I realized I was really on the edge. I did reflect on it, though. Telling the truth and asking for the withdrawal of my dismissal would reveal her concealed action to the president. Mariah indeed loves drinking, and she even uses her vacation leave for it, though such action have been kept a secret from the president. That's why she just couldn't bring herself to tell the truth. While she was struggling, I ended up leaving the company. You and Hayden. Considering what that man did there, it was odd to the point of being silent about it. Yet, you accepted being fired without saying anything, all for me. Learning that someone like that exists made me feel incredibly ashamed of myself. So, that's why. That led to the apology earlier. Hey, are you okay? Huh? Before I knew it, Mariah was peering intently into my face. That's when I remembered. Right in front of me was a beautiful woman I had always admired. Are you eating properly? I was worried about you, because of me. I'm fine. Of course, there's no smell of alcohol today. Instead, there's a sweet, fragrant smell wafting around. Perhaps it's perfume. My head feels fuzzy, almost drunk, and my heart is pounding fiercely. Listen, I'll tell my dad the whole truth. I'm confident that he will revoke your dismissal." Suddenly, it felt like a bucket of cold water had been dumped on my head, pulling me back to reality. At the same time, bitter memories flooded back. The cold stares from colleagues after the project was cancelled. The president's icy tone, saying, "I don't even want to see your face. It's okay. Even if it's revoked, I don't find it's right to go back now." "Right, I'm sorry." Seeing my expression darken, Mariah also drooped her shoulders. The conversation stalled there, and an awkward silence filled the room. Then, Mariah suddenly stood up straight. "I'm leaving now. Sorry for taking your time." Yes. See you tomorrow, Nicholas." "What?" With a faint smile, she waved her hand slightly. And just like that, Mariah was out the door in no time. I was left dumbfounded, merely watching her leave. But from that day on, a strange interaction began between her and me. The next day, I started running around looking for a new job. When I returned to my apartment exhausted in the evening, she was always there in front of the entrance door. "Welcome back, Nicholas." "Mariah, you seem especially cheerful today. I got my hands on some rare beer. I'm really excited." After the recent mishap, it seems she decided to refrain from drinking outside for a while. But of course, she can't drink at her own home. So, when she wants to drink, she decided to come over to my place. She alleged that her love for alcohol is unknown to her family, and even her friends. "The only person who knows is me. Just so you know, that's not the reason why I came to see you. I'm worried about you, Nicholas, and I'm just coming over to check on you. The alcohol is just a bonus." "Sure it is." "Yes, Nicholas, you too. It's non-alcoholic, right?" Yeah. Cheers." She always makes sure to buy something I can drink along with her own alcohol. It seems Mariah really likes drinking with someone after all. I actually wanted to drink with my whole family when I turned 21. One day, she murmured with a slightly sad face, "My mom can't drink, and my dad doesn't like it either." Doesn't like it. I thought President Williams was quite the drink enthusiast. No, what my dad doesn't like is me drinking. And also me being alone with men, or talking like this. He's always told me not to do things that aren't befitting the daughter of a president while I was growing up. Did the president say that? Indeed, the Mariah I had always seen at the company did have the aura of a born lady. It's true that I fell for her at first sight and couldn't take my eyes off her. But I had never once seen her laugh. That was because she was hiding her true self, forcing herself to act like a proper lady. "So, Nicholas, do you prefer to mirror women?" "Huh? Just kidding. Just wanted to ask. See you later." She moved so quickly, leaving before I could say anything. I missed my chance to tell Mariah. As my job search became more challenging, Mariah's ever-changing expressions and her genuine, unpretentious personality were saving graces for me. Now, I find myself being drawn to her true self. So, the next time Mariah visited, I told her, "I don't want you to come here anymore." "What? What happened all of a sudden?" "Mariah, you have a boyfriend, Hayden, if I remember correctly, right?" "I remember him. Though there's a grudge between him and me for being treated and hit like a criminal. But I was the one who hit first, and that's that." Since I wanted to be more than just drinking friends with Mariah, I had to distance myself from her, before I started to fall in love with her even more. However, Mariah just waved her hands dismissively at me. "Hayden? No, he's not my boyfriend." "What?" "But Mariah, you said, 'What are you doing to my boyfriend?' That wasn't addressed to Hayden." "What?" "Basically, it was my fault, but it looked like you went too far. I thought if I said that, it would scare him off." "Did you, Nicholas, misunderstand that the whole time?" "So, the boyfriend Mariah was talking about was me?" "No way." Feeling relieved yet wanting to get back the shock I felt at that moment, I just slumped, drained of energy. Mariah chuckled softly and said, "Sorry," with her hands together in apology. "I haven't seen Hayden since then, and we were just drinking buddies to begin with. I think he felt the same way. After all, he never made a move." "Oh, I see." I sighed with relief inwardly at that moment. Suddenly, Mariah showed a lonely smile. "I wonder if it's because I'm like this that I'm not for you." "Huh? Because I love alcohol. I'm chatty, and not at all demure. Maybe that's why I don't have the charm of a woman, and why I'm not attractive." That's not true at all. I wanted to tell her that it absolutely wasn't the case. Because, as a matter of fact, I've had a crush on Mariah as she is now. But I couldn't say it because she abruptly got close to my face. Mariah. Nicholas, too. Just a little more, and our lips would have touched. When we got that close, my heart felt like it was about to explode, and I mustered all the energy I had. No, Nicholas. She was pushed back by the shoulders, and what expression Mariah had. I couldn't tell as I turned my face away. Things like this should only happen with someone you love. It's not right otherwise. Right. Yes, you're right. Mariah stood up smoothly and headed towards the entrance. Then, as she reached for the doorknob, she turned back to me, who had followed her. I'm sorry. Goodbye, Nicholas. That became the last time I heard her voice. From that day on, Mariah never visited me again. And then, a month flew by in no time. I was still in the midst of job hunting. I'm tired. As those words involuntarily escaped my lips, both mentally and physically cornered. Mariah. When she was by my side, no matter how many rejections I faced, it didn't bother me. Being swept up in her free-spirited ways, I received more energy than I could have imagined. I want to see her carefree smile when she drinks her favorite alcohol again. I want to see Mariah when I truly wished for it, as if my wish had been heard. A black luxury car quietly stopped in front of me as I trudged along the sidewalk. What? I recognized the car. Just can't be, I thought, stopping in my tracks just as the person inside opened the door. Hello, Nicholas. President. It was indeed President Williams who had stepped out. He slowly approached me, rooted to the spot. Then he unexpectedly started ring. President, I'm terribly sorry. Please forgive me. It's my fault I didn't bother to understand you. The president repeatedly apologized to me. Please, stop. What's going on, all of a sudden? I was so taken aback, I begged him to stop. And when President Williams finally did, there were tears in his eyes. I heard everything from Mariah, my daughter, that you're her lifesaver. Everything. So, then. Yes. What she truly loves, too. With regret in his voice, President Williams murmured softly. I realized I didn't know anything at all. Thank you so much, Nicholas. And I am truly sorry. And now, although it may sound presumptuous, would you consider coming back to the company? What? It's Mariah's strong wish. She wants to make amends for causing your dismissal because of her. Of course, I feel the same way. Then, President Williams conveyed Mariah's message to me. I didn't have the courage to speak to my father, and I'm sorry it took so long. If you can forgive me, I'll be waiting at the company, she said. I had never seen my daughter so passionately advocate for something. It was like she was a completely different person, and it surprised me. That is, I understand. It was my fault. I imposed my ideals on her, making her life suffocating. Whether she acts like a president's daughter, whether she likes alcohol or not, Mariah is Mariah. Saying so, he dropped his shoulders in a gesture so reminiscent of Mariah. I really wanted to see her again. I understand. Nicholas. I'll return. I forgot to warn Mariah not to drink too much. If it's from her lifesaver, she'll listen, right? Oh, of course. Please, tell her. Coming from you. Overflowing with tears, President Williams nodded repeatedly with a smile. Later on, my dismissal was officially revoked. It was decided that I would work in the sales department again, and for the first time in a while, I visited my colleagues. Welcome back, Nicholas. Sorry about last time. We've been waiting for you. You're too modest, our hero of justice. Let's do this, once again. I heard that President Williams had spread the truth throughout the company. Welcomed with warm words and smiles, I successfully made my return. And finally, I was able to meet Mariah again. Once again, I'm truly sorry. When we bumped into each other in the corridor at work, Mariah expressed her gratitude again. She admitted that her action almost destroyed her life. Now she wanted to continue making amends for it. That's enough. Thanks to you, I was able to come back like this. But, actually, I feel like that incident was a blessing for me. You know, I got close to the person I had a crush on and had several drinking sessions, just the two of us. A crush. I hadn't planned to say it here. Seeing Mariah's eyes widen, I hastily covered my mouth. Nicholas, you have someone you love, So, with me. More importantly, Mariah, you should have more confidence in yourself. That's what I've always wanted to tell you. So bye. As my face heated up, I quickly left the scene. Behind me, Mariah called out, "How about we drink together tonight?" That night, Mariah visited my apartment after a long time, bringing along her favorite wine and some non-alcoholic beer. But she didn't try to open the wine bottle for a long time. I couldn't open my beer can either, and an awkward silence ensued. Then, finally, Mariah spoke up. It was me. I was the one who decided what I should be. Huh? Not ladylike enough. Dad would be disappointed. I thought that's what he wanted. So I ended up pretending to be someone I'm not, and got lost along the way. Lost in what? Hey Nicholas, what do you mean by you should have more confidence? Am I okay as I am? Do you think everyone would accept me? That is. Of course. I nodded firmly and clearly. Truthfully, initially I love you, pretending to be a lady of her father's liking, but I love you even more when you showed me your true self. So, the current Mariah is even more attractive than before. Surely, there's no one who wouldn't like her. Even now, I like her this much. When I conveyed this, Mariah's ears turned bright red in an instant. Wait, are you joking? The person that I love is you, Mariah. Even if it's unrequited now, I'll work hard so that someday you might feel the same. Wait. Stop. Gelling that, Mariah covered her face, which seemed ready to steam, with both hands and whispered in a very small voice, "Me too." What? So, it's not unrequited. I also, Nicholas. I love you, Nicholas. What? I love Nicholas, who accepted me as I am. What? Now, it was my turn to turn bright red. Seeing me like that, Mariah chuckled softly and said, "This kind of thing should only happen with someone you love, right?" Then moved her face closer. "Yay, that's right. So, you won't stop me this time." "Yeah." And this time, our lips truly met. After that, I began to work even harder than before and steadily improved my performance. After achieving the top performance several times, I was happily promoted. But the position was surprisingly special. "Nicholas, I want you to be my right-hand man. President, that is." Out of the blue, I was appointed to a special position, assistant to the president. There's no one I trust more than you. This is a direct order from the president, got it? Yes. Determined to meet the president's expectations, I became even more energetic in my work. Seeing my dedication, the president also declared, "I can't let the young ones outdo me," and showcased his business acumen more than ever. As a result, the company experienced unprecedented performance growth. Eventually, it grew into one of the leading corporations in the industry. Now, let's go back to when I had just returned to the company. One day, after work, I encountered Hayden. "Hello. You're the guy from that time." He seemed to remember me at first glance. After a moment of awkward silence, Hayden was the first to speak. "Sorry about that time, man, for hitting you." "No, it's me who should say sorry. You were amazing, you know. Amazing." "Yeah." When Mariah passed out, I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. But you, who happened to be there, saved Mariah with precise actions. Looking back calmly, I realized how incredible that was. Recalling how I wrongfully confronted you, I feel like punching myself now. Hayden muttered as if talking to himself. Maybe I was just frustrated. I liked Mariah but couldn't do anything about it. Pathetic, right? With a self-deprecating chuckle, Hayden confessed. He had crushed on Mariah since the first time he met her. But knowing she was the president's daughter, and considering himself poor, uneducated, and not smart, he thought he wasn't good enough for her. So, he never conveyed his feelings. "The other day, I saw you and Mariah walking together. It hurt, but you two looked great together. Mariah laughing with you was incredibly beautiful. I'll make her happy, I promise." To my words, Hayden laughed cockily. "Of course you will." And then he walked away, surely wishing Mariah's happiness. And now, Mariah and I are an officially recognized couple within the company. This is largely because the president has approved of our relationship and supports us fully. Though we sometimes get teased by colleagues, which is a bit embarrassing. Honestly, I'm glad we were recognized early on. Because lately, Mariah has been too attractive. What are you worried about? I'm fine. I won't cheat, Mariah says with a laugh, but the problem isn't with her. It's with the male employees around her. With her beauty and now showing her true friendly nature, her popularity within the company is skyrocketing. I worry that eventually, some employees might start to take their interest in her seriously. If we had kept our relationship a secret, I wouldn't have been able to take my eyes off Mariah for a moment. Especially be careful during drinking parties. Mariah, when she drinks, has an incredible impact. She's adorable. She smiles so brightly, looks so happy. Honestly, I wish I could keep it all to myself. Oh, Nicholas. With an exasperated sigh, Mariah leaned in close to my ear and whispered softly, "That's only in front of you, because you're the only one who knows. Could there be anything more blissful than this? I want to discover more of her that only I know. With each discovery, I'm sure she'll become even more dear to me. And to make her the happiest, I'm inspired to work even harder."